Right now, we're in the thick of the football playoff hunt. Tomorrow night, there are state semifinal spots on the line. Justin, you got a lot to say about these games.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite times of year, and coaches and players, they always talk about if you can practice on Thanksgiving, which was this morning, and play on Black Friday. That is the goal of every team every year, and these teams behind me right here have made it to that point. I'm going to talk a little bit about some of these games. I'm going to start down the wall down here. We got two all-local matchups down there, Bishop Kenny and Range and Trinity and University Christian. I like both of these matchups, but I do think that Trinity UC game is going to be quite a bit more competitive than that Bishop Kenny Range game. Bishop Kenny and Range, you got Caleb Madison coming off a career night last week. 369 yards rushing, 5 touchdowns for Caleb in that game as they pulled away from Godby for a big win. But doing that against Range, I wonder if he can do that, have that same success against that Range defense, which has given up like 46 points all season long. And a couple of those touchdowns were on kickoff returns. So that Range defense is electric. When they home in on a player, that player usually has a difficult night. So I'm looking forward to seeing Caleb Madison against that unbelievable Range defense. And Trinity UC, I think this is going to be a great game as well. We've talked about them all season long, meeting at this stage in the playoffs, and here we are one night away from that game. Trinity has the history, the recent history in this game. The last 50 years, they've won more than 20 times. UC has won 4 times in that game. But the reason why I think this is going to be competitive, once UC kind of got over that hump of, hey, we're the kind of the little brother. That's how Trinity views UC. Once they beat Trinity Christian in this game a few years ago and got to the state semifinals, only 2 years ago, that UC beat Trinity Christian in the regional final to get to that state semifinal berth. That's why I think this game is going to be competitive. Both these teams, 9 state championships apiece. 2 coaching legends at these schools, Verlin Dorman and David Pinland III. I think that's going to be a great one on Friday night. We move on into these right here. Cocoa and Bradford. If you know your history, well, you know that these teams have met a few times in the last few years at this stage or beyond in the playoffs. So the last time these guys met a couple years ago, state championship game. Cocoa won that game. I think they're probably the small favorite here just because their offense is really, really good. Ryan Schneider is a very, very good coach. So is Jamie Rogers at Bradford. They're coming off a 24-14 win over Berkeley Prep. I think this is going to be a heavyweight matchup on Friday night. Choctaw and St. Aug, they've met. This is the 4th year in a row they've met in the postseason. 3 of these have been at this stage in the playoffs, right for the state semifinal berth. This one last year was 13-6, a very, very low-scoring defensive slugfest kind of game. I think that's going to be a very similar result as we see on Friday night. St. Augustine's defense, hey, we know about Samorian Wingo and Brenton James and Darrell Preston and those guys. Man, they clamped down Ed White last week. Highest scoring regular season team in state history, averaging 54 points a game. St. Augustine held them to 12 points in garbage time. It was 37-0 before Ed White got on the scoreboards. That defense of St. Aug can play a little bit of ball too. Moving on up into our 3 bigger classifications. Daytona Beach mainly won a state championship a few years ago. Well, they're heading to the Shark Tank on Friday night. That Ponte Vedra defense, J.P. Dolan, Reese Beck, Talon Babin, those guys can play some defense. They're all healthy now too, and they've been to 2 tough playoff games. They they hammered Beachside last week 38-3. A week before, they had a playoff win over Niceville. That was electric. That environment down there was fantastic. So can the Sharks do it on Friday night? They've been to the spot 2 times before. They're 1-1 in those games. 2 other ones here, Pensacola Catholic coming to Bowles. I think Bowles wins this game handily. They missed the state semifinals last year for the first time under Coach Matt Toblin. I think they get back. They've got a great offense and a very, very strong defense. I think Bowles is headed to the Final Four. And the last one, the only out-of-area game on Friday night, Mandarin heading to Gainesville-Buchholz, and the Final Four path has run through Gainesville the last 4 seasons. Buchholz has been to the state semifinals 4 consecutive years, Alessandra, and all 4 times they've beaten local teams to get there. Mandarin will be number 5, but Mandarin is clicking. They're coming off 42-point performance against Pace last week. Can they get it done against Gainesville-Buchholz? That's a big question.